Hello everyone, Mr. Lober here to talk to you about congressional leadership, or who exactly runs and decides what's going to happen in Congress. As you see the slides, please feel free to pause at any time and fill in the notes on your note-taking guide. And feel free, of course, to move around the video to see what the information you need to see or information you might have missed. As we talk today, you'll be looking at three key questions. What are the qualifications or what are the minimum requirements for being a representative or a senator? What are the benefits of being a senator? And what is congressional leadership made up of? In other words, who's in charge and who runs the show? The qualifications session is pretty easy to figure out. Excuse me. In the House of Representatives, you must be at least 25 years old. You must have been a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years and live in the state you represent. This means that you could theoretically be from another country and come in and run for Congress. In the Senate, you need to be at least 30 years old, be a citizen for at least 9 years, and again, live in the state you represent. For obvious reasons. The difference, though, between the age requirements is that the Senate, being the smaller body, is designed to be the more deliberative or slower one, and so they'd want older, wiser, more experienced people to serve in that role. Please pause here and write down what you need to from the slide if you haven't already. When you are ready, go on to the next one. There are some benefits to being a congressperson. Currently, they are paid $174,000 a year, which is amazing when you think about the amount of work they do, or in some cases don't do. Remember that they work in Congress in the big chambers from Tuesday through Thursday from noon to 5. Now, of course, they're doing committee work other times and things like that, but for only meeting for 15 hours a week as a whole, that's a pretty sweet deal. Their pension or their retirement fund averages between $40,000 to $55,000 for life. In other words, once you retire from Congress or are no longer part of Congress, you get paid $40,000 annually or up to $55,000 annually just for having been there. They also have what's called the franking privilege, which means they can send mail without stamps. You might have noticed, especially with election season coming up, your mailboxes are littered with things asking you to vote for one representative or another, and they are using their franking privilege rather to do that. They are using that to inform you about what they've done in office and to help inform you and encourage you to vote for them. Please pause here and take any notes you need to if you haven't already. When we talk about congressional leadership, because there are two chambers, there are two sets of people we need to talk about. In the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House is the most powerful member and is always from the majority party. Currently, that party is the Republican Party, and so our Speaker is Mr. John Boehner from Ohio. He decides who gets to speak when the whole Congress meets and decides how long they get to speak, and he assigns bills as they are introduced to committees. So he will figure out what bills are going to be worked on when and whether or not and the Congress will vote on a bill. The majority leader is a spokesman for the majority party, and it's his job to make sure that the bills that his party favors pass. The minority leader organizes the opposition. In this case, in the House, it's Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat from California. Her job is to represent or to get Democrats together to think about how they want to attack things and what bills they would like to pass. Party whips are in charge of making sure that members get to the floor for their votes. They make sure the parties have enough votes to get the bills they want through, and helps to assist the majority leader. Think of them kind of like the muscles or the enforcers of the party. They are the ones who are in charge of making sure that everyone votes the right way and make sure that everyone follows party lines. Please pause here and add any notes that you need to. In the Senate, you have the President of the Senate, who is the Vice President, and that's one of the Vice President's permanent duties. He presides over debates in the Senate. He casts tie-breaking votes in the case that there's a 50-50 tie, and he counts the totals of the Electoral College, as we saw in our video that we looked at last week. When the vice president isn't there, the Senate is led by what's called the president pro tempore. He does all the duties of the president of the Senate when the vice president isn't there, but he also has votes on all legislation. So in other words, the vice president only votes if Senate is gridlocked. Otherwise, the president pro tempore, if he's running the show, can vote as a normal Senate member would. The majority leader is the most influential person in the Senate. He has the same duties as the majority leader in the House, making sure that everyone's in line. Minority leader does the same thing in the House, making sure that their party is getting everything they want to do. And the whips, of course, have the same role in both chambers of Congress. Congress also, excuse me, because Congress is charged with making bills for and laws for the entire country, we offer them a certain number of supports as well. It's impossible for them to know everything they need to going in, so we provide them with a few different avenues to get the knowledge that they need in order to make informed decisions. One of their biggest resources is the Library of Congress, which is the largest library in the world. It provides them the opportunity to research anything they might need to. We also provide the General Accounting Office, which audits federal activities or oversees them in order to make sure that money is spent legally and to track how much money might be spent. We also have the Congressional Budget Office, which helps them to figure out how much bills will cost and make recommendations to Congress. So whenever you hear projections about how long or how much further in depth we're going to go or things like that, those projections are usually based on CBO projections. There's the Office of Technology Assessment, which does, as we say here, they study new technologies to make sure Congress is aware of advances and does research on the effects of technology in the world. And Congress people also have a staff that can help them out. So, for example, the staff deals with constituents who might have issues, or whenever you write a letter to a congressman, it's generally a staff member that's replying to you, using the congressperson's permission to do so. So generally, when the people are performing constituent service, or that you are talking to a staff member to help you out there. Staff members also can negotiate with other Congress members or with the staff of other Congress members in order to make sure that their person is all voting the same way. So the staff people, in a sense, have a great deal of power themselves. Representatives can have up to 18 full-time staff members and 4 part-time staff members. Senators can have an unlimited number of staff. Our key questions again are: what are the qualifications for being a representative or senator? If you haven't done so already, please take time to fill that in. Please also fill in the benefits that go along with serving each position. And also please feel free to fill in the congressional leadership and what they're made up of in each spot. Once you have done that, please complete the section review questions at the bottom of your note sheet. Thank you guys for paying attention today. I hope this was successful for you.